bowl of cherries. I have an inner circle friend. He is what people would generally regard as a good man. He's older than me, not old enough to be my father, but older than me. He perhaps is akin to more of the younger uncle, who is solid, but enjoys a little spice to his life. He tackles fraud in government organisations, enjoys beer, loves his sport, a keen family man, devout and plays a part in his local church, plays musical instruments, writes poetry, and every Saturday he picks up the shopping and spends an hour chatting with a housebound friend of his. He and I often enjoy Italian food and a good debate as we set the world to rights. He enjoys a fierce discussion, and it's all good fuel, but there is never any problems afterwards. Even when I have twisted and spun in order to avoid conceding a particular point, I always assert control and succeed. Every time we meet up, he always begins by reminding me that my life is a bowl of cherries. Yes, HG, it's a bowl of cherries. Look at you, an educated man with many, many friends. Interesting jobs, well read, able to do as he pleases, and you travel here, there, and everywhere. You organise your time so that you can spend time with lots of people, and most of all of the girls. Holy Toledo, the girls. You get through them and no mistake. But you're never troubled by it, are you? Sometimes I wish I was single and younger, so I could join you in these adventures. You are a man comfortable in his own skin. I can see that, and this means you are able to have a life which is a bowl of cherries. I always find it interesting, listening to this little speech of his. It is, of course, fuel, and he's signalling to me that I have control. It's important for people to recognise my elevated position and the rewards that come with it. He never exhibits any envy, nor does he judge me for what I do, albeit, of course, he only knows but a fraction of what I am. He regards some of my behaviours as hijinks and capers, the preserve of the younger man with the world at his feet. I will relay the latest tale of my activities as he sips from his rioja. He laughs and shakes his head as I detail to him some of what I have been doing, but he is never alarmed by what I tell him. He is a big believer in living life to the full, seizing opportunities, and setting the world alight, all of which I naturally do. There is only one topic where he passes comment in a slightly adverse way towards me: children. So, HG, he will begin before swallowing more of his wine and lighting yet another cigarette if we are dining at his house. When can we expect some children? All these ladies, and you cannot tell me that they don't want a little HG to share the cherries with. Maybe one day. I lie, since I have no intention of having any children. He is unaware that I dealt with that some time ago. I lie in order to assert control, to let him think that it's something that remains on the agenda. Well, he says, you are in your prime, so those cherries will keep on appearing, juicy and ripe. But seriously, a man should have children. I have 4, 2 by each wife. Children are a great comfort. Tells you that someone can bear you if they want to carry your offspring. They give you something to strive for, something to live for, and then you have a legacy as you see them going to the world making their own way. I smile and allow him to say all of this. I hear it each time that we meet up. You must have met the right lady by now, surely. You've no problem attracting them with your big bowl of cherries now, do you? He asks. True enough, I answer, but there is so much to do, and sharing those cherries isn't really on the agenda. Come now, he smiles. You have more than enough, and you should share. You should be showering your gifts on someone special, and offspring. It's the right thing to do. You've no need to worry, my lad, about sharing those cherries, you know. You always have a bowl full, and if you share a few around, then you'll always be able to pick some more, won't you? At this, I feel my irritation rising as he continues to challenge my status. There is never enough, I reply, and I have to be careful, you know. There are too many who would steal my cherries from me and leave me with nothing, I explain. No, there isn't, he counters. I've told you before. The cherries are there to share, not to hoard. You need to listen to me, share, and keep picking. My irritation continues to rise, but, as the ultra, I keep it under control. And instead, I give him a smile, and let him continue with his monologue, allowing him to think that I am taking it all in and paying heed to his apparent wisdom. I am not. I reject much of it. He's right, though. I am the cherry picker. I am up on high, elevated above everything else around me, and I reach those places that the little people can never reach. I can move from side to side, up and down, and ensure that I always obtain the tastiest and most succulent cherries before anybody else. I can see them dark red, and with that polished lustre just waiting to be picked by me and me alone. So many out there to collect, in order to try to fill my bowl. If only one was able to figure out some way to plug the hole in the bowl. Perhaps then I might just be tempted to share. But until then, there is never enough. It all must belong to me, and I cannot give to anybody, for to do so would reduce my effectiveness, would slow me down, would prevent me from achieving all that which must be achieved. His well-intentioned monologues, his views on life, the contentment that he exhibits, annoys me, but I do not lash out at him, for he serves a purpose to me with regard to the provision of information that he allows me to obtain, hence why he is retained as an inner circle friend. There is that residual benefit, and of course, the provision of the fuel that is always granted to me. And thus, I tolerate his talks about the bowls of cherries, as I continue to pick them from him, although he doesn't necessarily notice.